So how we are going to do this session is first we are going to, I'll introduce you to certain elements of Gradebook, and then I'll take you through the demonstration how this Gradebook works. So let me introduce you, because all of your grades for each of your students in your course, they can be found in your Gradebook or the grader reports. Specifically, if I say grader report, you'll find their grades. But for that, you have to do certain tasks before your course starts or in the middle of your course. So it will be quite difficult to do everything at the end of your course if you want to add all of your grades into Moodle at the end of your course where you have graded your students manually. So I will suggest before I start this session that when your course starts, so you should set up your Moodle Gradebook. So basically what Gradebook does is it collects items from your course, because you have different items in your course, like assignments, different type of quizzes, class participation, any activity you do, any discussion activity you do. So you actually put all these activities grades are mentioned in graders report. So these are the some benefits of Gradebook. It has flexible options for different kind of marked formats like numerical or alphabetical. And you do not need to do anything. Whenever you add any activity, Gradebook automatically collects grades and marking from your course and put it in your online assessments. So it also allows marks to be grouped, stored, and edited later on if you want to edit marks. So you can edit those marks. So there are some very great functionalities. So I'll share this PowerPoint as well, but I quickly take you through to what are the basic things in Gradebook. So you can create a gradable activity within your subject. You cannot add it in your Gradebook automatically, and Gradebook automatically creates a space for that. And as you or the system assign marks within the completed activity, the assigned grades are automatically sent through the Gradebook. When you're using Gradebook, you need to remember 2-3 things. Number one is the default settings. Default settings are assigned by the system administrator. So we usually do not try to change those systems like grades. I'll take you through to the demonstration. So we do not change some default settings of the Gradebook. But what we can do, we can assign marks to our activities. So when we are editing the Gradebook or building the Gradebook, so you have started your course, you have to remember 3 things. Number one, you have to remember that you should have a grade item. Then you have to create a grading activity or the grade activity and the grade itself. So these 3 building blocks actually make your Gradebook. So the graded item or the grade item is created in your course. That could be an assignment, that could be an activity, that could be anything, or any quiz or anything. So grade category is important, that all your graded items actually come under that grade category. It could be exams, it could be class participation, it could be quizzes, it could be assignments. And the grade itself, these 3 are the building blocks. The important thing is grader report, which is the main Gradebook, where you can see all gradable items, their grades against student names and their roll numbers. You can see their percentages, their class standings, and everything. So you can hide everything, you can show everything, you can see the grader report, you can see the user report, how student will see grader report. So everything happens there. Quickly, what is the grade category? So you can create a grade category in order to keep track of the grade items. Categories could be workshop, quizzes, assignments, discussion forums, as I told you. The graded item, it could be moved to the grading category, like quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, that will come under the exams category. So this is the basic setup of a gradebook. So in the center, you can see there is your gradebook, and around it, all of your graded items, all right? And your graded items are in your graded categories. So now I'll take you through to directly to the Moodle, and I'll show you how you do things. So can you see this on your screen? Gohar, can you tell me? Can you
Yes,
see
sir.
my Moodle account? All right.
Yes, sir.
So I'm using one of my course from 2019 because I do not have any new course. I have new courses, but I do not want to mess up with my gradebook. So when you open up your course, on your left-hand side, when you scroll down, you'll see grades. So this is your area for your grade book. So it is important that you know where it lies. So when you click this, so it will open up kind of a complicated thing right in front of you, but it's not that much complicated because there are a lot of things we do not actually try to change. So there are two rows at the top where you can see view, setup, scales, letters, import, export, and then there is a row below that is, there are tabs like grader report, grade history, outcomes report, overview report, single view, user report. So the first thing is grader report. So here you can see in grader report, I have all of my students, all right? You can see there are several students and their names are written in their column against their roll numbers. So if I open this up, you'll see at the top row, there are graded items like assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, assignment 4, then assignment total, exam total, task 1, class activity, course total, etc., etc. And you can see grades written against their names. There is a student, Mazhar Abbas, he has this F. There is a student, Mubara Anjum, she has an A. So how this all happens. So this is an overview of your gradebook, and you can see it in your grader report. So your task starts when you go to the setup, how you set up your gradebook. So here, if I scroll it down, you can see there are some kind of folders. At the top, you can see a folder 2019 Fall Community Journalism. So the first folder is assignments. So this is basically the category of assignments. Under this, there are several assignments. So let's see, let's create a scenario that you haven't set up your gradebook and you have given 2 assignments to your students. And now you want to set up a gradebook. So what I have done, I have moved one of my assignment somewhere else, like under class activity. Can you see this here? So my assignment 2 is moved to the class activity. So, or it is without any grading category. So I want to move that assignment to the assignment category. So you have to click this double-edged arrow, and then you see these camera sort of buttons, all right? So when you click that double edge arrows, then you have to click the camera icon, camera kind of icon, and click that. So that assignment will automatically move under your assignments tab. So can you see that? That moved from class activity to under assignments. This is a scenario when you haven't created a grade book, or you haven't created categories and you have given assignments. For instance, you are in the mid of your course and you want to create your grade book at this moment, and you have given 2-3 assignments in the model, and then you create categories and you want to move those graded items into the categories. You can move them under those graded categories. So when I started this PowerPoint, I told you there are 2 items you have to keep in your mind: grading categories and graded items. So when you scroll down your setup page, you will see there are two options given. Add a category, add a grade item. So there are two different things. So we'll try to add a category here. So category name, let's say exam. All right. Aggregation, you do not need to mess up with these things because I usually do not change these things because these are already on the default. So maximum grade, I'll keep it 100. All right. And I'll actually push this button, save changes, and it will create an exam category. So here you can see exam category under the class activity total. So in that, because I have already created different categories here in my previous course, that's why I'm just telling you. So from here you can, because when you will open your gradebook, your gradebook will be empty. So first you have to create the categories of your gradebook, that how many categories you will have. You will have exams, class participation, maybe a reaction paper, maybe a field visit, maybe 5-6 assignments. And then, there will be certain items or certain assignments you'll be grading manually. Let's say you have a field visit and you have attached 5 marks to that field visit. How you are going to add it in Moodle? Let's say you add here a category, field visit, let's say. Save changes. So you can see field visit category. So when you go to the view graded report, so you should have that category here, field visit. Can you see this category here? Now you have taken your students to a television channel. I'll take my scenario, and you want to add their marks manually. Rest of your marks are added automatically in Moodle. So you'll click this added button. So then you'll click all. Now you will give them marks, all right? Like here. So when you'll add marks, like I'll add 10 marks, all right? There are different options like all or none. So when you click all, you'll add it all these boxes against every student, like 10, and then you have to click this button which says save. So because I haven't added any marks to it, like there were 0 marks attached to it, so that's why it didn't add the marks, but in that way you can add the marks, all right? So grade is, the initial grade has been attached to it is 0. So you have to give it a grade, that how much grade weightage this activity will have. So in that way you can add marks. So here range is 0. That's why it will not add 10 marks to it. So it can only add 0 marks. So if you have given here 5 marks or 10 marks, then it will give marks out of 10 or 5. I hope probably you have got the idea. So in this way, you can add marks manually. We'll again go to the grade setup. So here you have all your marks attached to it. Okay, you can see here the course total 125. You should not be worried about it, that because whatever you will do in this graded report, it will be graded according to these letters. If you see this letter setup after the scales, you'll see this is our grading setup, which is universal setup at FC College we use. So we can change these, but we do not change them. All right. We do not edit these grades. So these are default by the system administrator. They have actually added all these grades. So whatever you are going to do here in the setup, that will be graded according to these letters. And then the second is scales. So again, we do not add, usually I do not add scales. It's up to you. You want to add any scale or something like that. I usually do not use this. So because at the start, I told you that there are certain default settings, which we usually do not change. So in that way, you can use this gradebook. Then there is important thing against this second row where grader report is outcome reports. All right. So here you can see the outcome reports and the overview reports. So of all your courses. Then in setup, if you go setup, course grade settings. In course grade settings, that how your grades will be displayed. So aggregation position, I usually keep it to the default. Then grade item settings. What I usually do, I keep it real, that the real percentage or the mark aggregation I give to a category or the grading item, and then a letter. You can keep it to real only. All right. So when you'll keep it to the real, you'll see it will be changed in your grader report. So initially, when I show you my grader report, it was showing grade somewhere here, A minus A or something, because I kept this option real with a grade. So recently I have actually changed it. So I'll go back and into the setup, course grade settings. I'll again change it to real and letter. So when I change it real to a letter, it will show a letter with the real grade. So now you can see there is A, there is C minus, there is A minus, there is A. So in that way, you can change your course grade settings. So there are several other options as well. Percentages as well, real percentages. Percentage real, percentage letter, etc., etc. So I usually keep it real with letter, that they see what they have got and they can see that what grade they are getting. Then overview report. So I usually keep it default. This is the user report, show rank. I usually keep it as a default, hide. You can actually show it, so it will show the rank as well. Show percentage as well. So here you can actually show the percentage to the users as well. So this area, user report, is for the users, that how they will see their grading report or their grades. So range decimal points, I'll keep it default. So there are most of the options that are already being set for you by the system administrator, those who manage Moodle at FC College. So in order to make it easy for you. So you can play with these defaults and that will work quite fine with you. Then in setup, I have already told you that do not change the letters and the scales. You should not work with that. Import. This is in case that you want to import some kind of grade. I never did it because you have to actually work a lot with that in order to import any file into Moodle grade file, because you have to create specific categories into the Excel or XML file and then paste it. Although I work with export. So export is that whatever you have done in your gradebook, you are going to export it into plain text file, open document spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. These are the options. You can click any option. So I'll click that option. So it will give you certain options that what you want to export. So I have all these items in my gradebook. Because usually at the end of the course, I share a complete grading report with my students. So I usually export their grading report. So you can actually uncheck any activity if you want, and it will not export that activity. So let's say I have clicked everything and then download it. Bingo, you have this spreadsheet downloaded in your system. When you'll open up, everything you are seeing on Moodle, that will show up in your Excel sheet. So against their numbers and everything. So again, we'll go to the Moodle Grader report setup. So in setup, you can see there are several categories and you are playing up with these categories. So here I'll uncheck that and you can see. So they are now locked. So when you check them, so you can actually change their grading weightage. So here I'll change it to like 30%, let's say. Save changes. Continue. So it has changed it and automatically it has changed the weightage of the assignment. But at the moment, because this course is expired already, so I can do such kind of experiment with that. But I would recommend you, when you are working with your gradebook, you should set up all these categories and their weightage at the start of your course, because in the middle of your course, let's say you have attached some certain weightage to your assignment and your activities, and you have done those activities. So it will usually confuse you when you will create your gradebook at the end of, at the middle of your course or at the end of your course. So it's a good activity that when your course starts, so before your semester starts, you set up your gradebook and it will make your life easy. So I'll take you to another thing. So in that way, you can change the weightage of different categories. Like I have given 30% to the assignments, 50% to the exams, 20% to the class activity. Then there's another option of exam. I'll give it 35%. And then field visit, I'll give it 10%. And then I'll save the changes. So you see, all the percentages are there. So let's go back to your course now. So these are the basic elements, very basic elements of gradebooks, which you need to know. Then when we go back to our course, how we are going to do certain things. Let's say I have set up my gradebook. And when I have set up my gradebook, I have to add a graded item here. Let's say assignment. All right. So I'll say test assignment, because I have already assignments X, Y, Z, whatever you want to write in this dialog box. So you can use this dialog box in a different way. There are different items. You can add video, etc., etc. There are a lot of things. So you can embed the link, etc. You can add a file as well. So here, I will not go into the details. This option is important for you. So here you can find an item which says grade category. So at the moment, it's uncategorized. So what you are going to do, you're going to put it under some categories. Remember, previously we created certain categories in our grade book. So when you'll add any graded item in your course on Moodle, those categories which you have previously created will show up under the grade category. So because this is a graded item in your course, so what you want to do, you want to put it under assignments. So in that way, this test assignment will show up under your grades. So let's go back to our So here you can see now test assignment is being shown in your grader report as well. And when you'll go back to the setup, it should show somewhere here as well. All right. So it is showing up in your under your assignments because this is your parent category, and under your parent category, you have added a graded item. Similarly, we'll go back again to our course, and then we'll add, let's say, we want to add a quiz here. So this is again how to develop quiz, and that is a separate session I usually conduct. But so test quiz, and here there are several items. I will not look into these items because they are not important at the moment. So usually I discuss these items in when I give session on how to develop quiz. So here is the important option is grade category again. So we'll put this under exam or exams, all right? So here we have, we'll save and return to the course. So we haven't added any questions at the moment, how to develop questions, how to develop their categories. That is a separate debate. So we'll go back to the grades and we'll go into the setups. So you can see we haven't added any marks at the moment. I'm just telling you how to add graded items. So now you can see test quiz is showing up under the parent category of test quiz or something like that. Same is the case with class participation. You add any class activity, let's say you add a discussion board, you again go back to your course and there are several options of adding class discussions. So from here, you will add a discussion or debate board. Let's say I usually use forum. So I create forum, and forum will show up under the category of your parent category of class activity. Again, a lot of questions when I conduct this session, I get a lot of questions that because we add certain weightage to attendance, how we are going to mark our attendance. We have here in Moodle, we have option of attendance. So here we can do that attendance, but because we mark our attendance on Empower and we attach certain weightage to being present in the class, I usually give 10% of the course or 8% of the course. So I usually calculate it manually. So what you have to do, again, in the setup, you'll create any category. I told you previously that if you have done anything manually, you will create that category, and manually you will add marks to that category into the grader setup. Like, let's say this assignment 3 is not actually graded at the moment. This is class, let's say this is class attendance. So you can actually add your marks into the grade here. So let's say 4. So they will add up 4 here. So in that way, you can do different activities. You can save them and you can add those manual activities. All right. Coming back to the grader report. So user report, let's say. So the user report is again a very important element in a grader report. So it should look like this user report. So that means your students will be seeing this whole page as part of their course. So at the moment, if you can see, select all or one user. So I want to see any user, let's say this user, all right? So in that way, they'll see their grades against every activity, against every class item they have attempted, like quiz or assignment. So some activities, some assignments are here empty because I haven't graded them because they are for sample. Some assignments are graded and their percentage, because previously we actually added in the setup, we select that option that we want to show a percentage and the letter grade with their marks as well. So here you can see assignment 1, it is graded, it is 100%, and the student got 4, it's B minus, and she got 80% in that. So in that way, you can actually see everyone's grading report. So this is called the user report. So rest of the items which are usually here, like outcome report and overview report, I usually do not look into them. So so these are some basic elements which we actually use in Gradebook. But again, because it's a meticulous job, and it involves a lot of technical skills and some technical understandings as well. So if you are using it first time, and again, when I ever give this session, I ask all the participants at the start of your course, you should set up your Gradebook, because it will make your life easy. Because when you are developing your course outlines, obviously you develop different categories that you are going to grade your students under these categories. So with that, you develop your course items. And in advance, what we can do, we can upload all the assignments in advance as well and put them under those categories. So because at the moment, I'm not dealing with the assignments, because these assignments and quizzes, they correlates with the grades. If we are going to do a session including grades, assignments, quizzes, probably that will clear up your mind as well. Because in advance, when you set up your quizzes and your assignments, let's say before the course starts, and you actually you can lock them. So student won't be able to see that assignment, but that assignment, its grade, and when this assignment is going to open will be there, and that assignment will automatically open on that date, and then student will be able to attempt that assignment. So you, in that way, you can actually prepare your whole course, your whole grading, and your plan of action in advance. So it will take like 2 or 3 hours to put all the grading items of your course, including quizzes, including assignments, including class activities on Moodle, and then lock them. All right. So when you lock them, they will not open before that date. So you can set up that date. So they will automatically open up. Students will attempt them. There are certain functionalities where Moodle automatically grade them, like your quizzes. So you will not have to actually grade your quizzes. Automatically, Moodle will grade those quizzes, and those grades will be automatically added to your Gradebook. So in the nutshell, what I would say, if you prepare your Gradebook, your course on Moodle in advance, and you put everything in Moodle in advance, so during the semester, you'll get a lot of time to focus what you are teaching, because grading is a meticulous job. It's a difficult job, and it's a time-taking job. So why not give that extra time before the course to this Moodle page or this Moodle functionality, and all of your items into that it will make your life easy, and you'll be more focused on your teaching and in your class content. So I guess they have asked me 45 minutes. So Mr. Gohar,
Yes,
I
sir.
guess I have done everything what I wanted to do. So if there is any question, we can take question from now on. So that's it
Uh,
from my side, I guess. So
yeah,
if there is any question.
you can raise your hand and I can unmute you, or you can write your question in the chat box. Miss Aisha Teek says that will we get the PowerPoint of this? Yes, we will share the PowerPoint and the video recording as well.
Yes, the PowerPoint and the video recording, then there is a handout as well that has been developed by CLT a year or two back when I started giving session on this. But let me say there's one thing, because this needs practice. So I have done it from like 2016, 2017. So initially it looks very complicated, because whenever I meet any participant, they say it's very it is not complicated. It looks complicated, but it's very easy. Because I'm sharing, I'm using it. That's why I'm sharing my knowledge, because it can make your life quite easy. If you prepare it in advance for the rest of your semester, you won't be doing any kind of grading, because Moodle will handle automatically everything. At the end of the day, you will download the grades and you will actually give those grader report to your students.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Any questions, please? We have comments from Sir Ashfaq. He says very informative. Then we have Mr. Rizwanullah. He says very nice and informative. And then we have comments from Sarat Razim. He says an informative session. Impressive talk, Dr. Adi, Dr. Mohammed Mustafa. Very well conducted, Mr. Rauf. Mr. Rauf, I have sent you in chat as well. If you can please write your complete name and your department. An informative one. Thank you, sir. By Ms. Sabah Williams. I'll quickly launch the poll, and you're requested to please poll. We have 65 participants. We have 39 respondents so far. This is a request to all the participants to please respond to the polling.
We always have more people join in, but very few fill the polling, which is sad. But we still have 70% who are responding. Adil, that was as usual a very concise talk. And I hope, since there were no questions, it seems you were very clear in how you explained it. Could you give a recap on how Gradebook makes easy to put up grades, marks when you are putting up grades in Empower? How Gradebook, when you do activities on Moodle, then it's very easy for the Gradebook to automatically sort of use the formula that you have applied, of course, in the technical part to give the grade for your student, right?
Dr. Oksana here, I want to add that usually at the end of your course, when you go into the exporting your grades, so when you export that Excel sheet, it's similar kind of Excel sheet we are actually developing manually. And we are checking all the papers and manually developing that sheet. But when you in advance put all the activities on Moodle, and Moodle takes care of everything, and at the end of the course, when you download that Excel sheet, you will get all the grade letters. All right. You are not manually grading your student. You are not checking papers. You're not checking quizzes. Moodle is doing the job for you. That is the easy part. But when it comes to uploading your grades on Empower, because I haven't seen any functionality that Moodle's grades are automatically added to Empower.
No, there's no connection there. I think last time also. Yeah.
Yes, there's no connection that. So I usually take those letters from the downloaded sheet, which I download from Moodle, export it in Excel, and then I take those grades from that Excel sheet and upload it on empower, that it is quite easy. Because, a lot of instructors, what they are doing, they are mostly drawn into checking their exams. Because when we are going to do the quiz session, obviously they'll get to know how easy it is to conduct a quiz. And recently, I'll tell you one thing. One of my colleague from geography, she called me that how we can stop cheating on like middle of the night, that how we can stop cheating on Moodle. So I told her certain functionalities that you can use pop-up functionality, because she was conducting her quiz next morning. So there are many functionalities. So Moodle is going to check your quiz, and it is going to add marks into the grade book, and it is going to attach those letter grades to that quiz as well. You are not checking quiz. I mean, there are 30, 40 students. Moodle is checking your quiz. What you have to do, you have to, in advance, you have to put those quiz and those assignments before the course starts into your Moodle course page, and rest of the things will be taken care by Moodle. And at the end of the semester, you are going to download grader report. So it is quite easy job. You can focus more on your content during your semester instead of going into the grading. So that's what you can do.
Yeah, but thank you for clarifying. What I also wanted to know was that many of us do our activities, faculty do their activities outside Moodle, assessment activities.
Yes.
And those have to be then manually added to the grade book for it to become a grade consistent with the rest of the activities that you have done. To provide that consistency, you will have to add that. I see that 65 people have joined, but when I put up, and they always large numbers join, but when we take numbers from ITS about faculty that have used Gradebook, for example, in fall, we see that very few use the Gradebook. And I fear that the reason could be that they are a bit hesitant to use. Could I, Adil, say that anybody who wants to work on the Gradebook can ask for your guidance? And I know Sabah also is very good, Sabah Iqbal from mathematics. I have a doubt that Mustafa is also quite good at that. Mustafa, do you use the Gradebook? Oh, so unmute, Gohar, please unmute.
I have done it.
Okay. So we can't hear you, Mustafa. So there's something missing at your end.
Am I audible now?
Yes, now.
Yes. So I'm not using Gradebook as well, but I'm using the Excel stuff in the old-fashioned way. But I just want to comment on your earlier stand, which you just have mentioned, that we are not using. Maybe most of us are feeling like me. I used to feel like it is a little bit like too sensitive to put, to give the grading option automatically, because somehow we control things in the meanwhile manually as well.
Yeah.
So
may I cut in, Mustafa? I understand what you're saying, and I see that Akhtas has also written, old habits die hard. We agree that Google Classroom might be a better user-friendly option, but Akhtas, we strongly do not recommend using other options, LMS or other classroom options, because Moodle at the end of the day is going to get us the analytics that we need. Google Classroom cannot do that. Google Classroom works for individual teachers, but when we are looking at an institution and trying to formulate the trends at how we are using technology and how we are collating our data, no other, we don't have another LMS to give us that collective information. So I would strongly urge all of you that if you are using any other source, so we should recommend that please use the Moodle that we have. We don't have Blackboard, we don't have other options. And so Moodle is all we have, and that is going to help us in our accreditation. That's the data, institution-wise data, that we are going to be seen as such. So please be mindful of that. I do see that there is a question Yeah, absolutely. It does look messy. I am sorry. But if you tell us how to make it less messy, I'm sure there are ways that we can tweak with Moodle. And
may I add, Dr.
a
Rukhsana, something?
A little small question.
Ji, Mustafa?
Okay, ma'am. The first question was that after today's talk, I'm convinced that I should use. That's the good thing about today's talk, that I'm now clear. Earlier I was skeptical, but today I believe that I should use
absolutely
Moodle as well. That's one thing. And then my second question is that why Adil do not come on camera? Why we miss to see him?
Because he's too handsome, and you'll not be able. You'll be floored if you see.
Make us
I'm
jealous.
Sure he's in bed, he's in night suit or whatever, but that's what happens with the, no, it is a bandwidth issue. I'm just joking. May I say that there was a question, how do we, great session, thanks. Can we export all entries from Moodle Gradebook? Export where?
All right. You can export your Moodle grades into different formats, into comma separated file, into Excel sheet with all the details you want to export, because at the end of the session, I actually discussed this area, that how you can export your report. So you can export it into Excel sheet, and later on you can take grades from that Excel sheet and you can put it in your Empower account. But quickly, I want to add something. Moodle is more convenient compared. I have used Blackboard, I have used Google Classroom. So Moodle is more convenient. It's more secure. It has more security features as well when it comes to quizzes and exams to minimize cheating. We have session on how to minimize cheating as well, and how to develop quizzes, how to import quizzes. So later on, definitely Dr. Rukhsana will do these sessions as well. So it is more convenient. The thing is, whenever I meet anyone, any participant, they say it looks complicated. There are many tabs and options which are not related to us, that are related to the people who actually manage Google, like scales and grades and other stuff. So they have made a lot of default options, and we can work with those default options. You do not need to check those tabs. You only need to work with graded items and categories and add graded items in your course. These are the three things. That's why I kept my PowerPoint quite simple, that everybody can understand. These are the three important things: graded category, graded item, and your grade. That's it. These three things.
May I also request Adil and perhaps Agdas and perhaps Sabah. Sabah is very good too from maths. If we could get the three of you together to customize the grade book so it is exactly pared down to the requirements of FC College. Can we do that, Adil? Because we have already customized. I have not customized grade book because I could not work on that part. But I have worked on the initial part of Moodle, which is actually very well customized for FC. So Adil and Akdas and Sabah, anybody else would like to sort of volunteer? I'm going to form a group. I'm going to sit the three of us in the room over here at CLT with ITS, and we can customize the grade book so it becomes more simple. Will that work, Adil?
Yes, sure. I'm all in.
Great. So let's move for it. Gohar, please put up the group.
Dr. Zubair.
Yes, Zubair wants to say, please. Zubair wants to be in that group. Zubair, we'll include you, and you had your hand up, please.
I have a question actually, madam. Yes,
I
am I'm using Moodle for almost 3-4 years now regularly. And I've also used the grade books. So I have a question for Dr. Adil. I used to have some bonus questions for my students in my quiz or exam. So I don't have any method to reduce their number. For example, if I have a 10 minutes, 10 numbers quiz, and I have given 10 MCQs, so I will have 10 marks, right? It will be very easier for the Moodle to give me the grade, but I will give 12 questions or 13 questions, but it's still, I give the students, a margin of 3 mistakes, 3 wrong questions, and still they will be able to get the full marks. But this option actually is not recognized by the Moodle. So at the end of the day, I have to manually do all that things. That problem, that my problem was not solved by them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, because in this case, I do not use this method, but in this case, the only option is to override your marks. That's what you are doing. So I haven't explored, Dr. Saab, this option yet, but I look into that, because at the moment, the option that can do your job is the override, which you are already doing. So that's what I know. I can look up for more options, because in quizzes, I usually give my students like 10 or 20 questions, and they are specifically marks are attached to them. Or I actually develop a rubric, and the Moodle check those quizzes on the basis of that rubric. But in your case, if you are giving them bonus questions, so later on when Moodle checks all the grade, all the students, in my opinion, overriding the marks remains the only option in that case. But again, I can look into other options as well.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
I think this seems to have come out very well, and that we have a group. I have written the name of some of you that have volunteered to be a part of this group. We want somebody who's very good in another application and grading and assessments, or has used Gradebook, Moodle Gradebook. So let's get together and make it simple for everybody else, so it doesn't look so intimidating. I see that there are no more questions. We are very, very thankful to Adil. Zubair, you don't have anything else to say, I think. So I thank you all. We still just made it to the 2 p.m. mark. We are well in time, and there are 53 of you with us. I thank each one of you for being here and for being so active. And Sylvia, you were upset with some remark that I made. So we'll have a laugh about that. So look, we do look forward to seeing you for the rubrics, advanced rubrics, if you're interested in that. Those of you that want to move on from basic rubrics that we worked with and want to use better and more effective rubrics, and perhaps with a dash of AI into your work, do join us. We'll have very good presentation for you coming up next Monday. So look forward to seeing you again with us, and goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Okay.
आपने बेटा नाम